Alright, hello. I wanted to make a video today about how I feel about like sex and just like men in general. And I'm gonna say this now. This like I couldn't even the biggest trigger warning ever. Like the amount of like you're gonna say multiple like at least once I can guarantee you are going to be saying Jesus Christ. Okay? Like that. Okay? Anytime I try to tell any one of these stories, that is the reaction that I get, and I'm going to be telling all of them at once here. If you cannot handle like sexual assault and like suicide and those being talked about like they're funny little anecdotes, like if you can't handle me talking about those in a lighthearted way, I would click off. Also, if you are my dad, I would click off. If you feel protective urges over me that would inspire you to kill, I would click off. Yeah, so this is gonna be a story about how it's gonna be multiple stories about, I don't know, essentially like if we look at the idea of a gender war or just like a divide between genders, this is kind of like my relationship to that, I guess. And like how I view men just as like a species. Don't mind me while I smoke weed because I have to be high for this one. This is a doozy. Okay, I'm just gonna get right on into it. Starting with sex. We're gonna be talking about sex. Okay? So, my relationship to sex. I grew up in a cult inside of Mormonism. So what I was taught about sex was very little. Like I didn't even go to like the biology like classes. Like I knew very little about sex. I knew nothing of consent. In fact, when I got taught about consent, I remember during the Title IX, like there was a Title IX like conference or meeting or talk or whatever that we had in college. I literally walked out within 5 minutes sobbing. Nobody, like I got so drunk because that is how I dealt with my problems in college. I got so drunk because I didn't have time to deal with any of it. And then they all just started stacking up like, whoo, and we're going to get into some of that. All right. So, growing up, here's what I was taught about sex. It is the power of God, essentially. It's like essentially the two, like when you're having sex outside of marriage or when you're like on a killing spree, those are the same thing because you're playing with the powers of life and death. So that is what I thought. So I was saving it for marriage, boys and girls. I was saving it for marriage. And I think that I was like the only person in my grade that was like saving it for marriage, like aggressively as a woman. And I was class president at one point. So yeah, I didn't understand, like I literally just turned off my hormones. Like, so high school was confusing. So I ended up in a relationship at one point in my senior year. This man knew I was saving it for marriage, okay? He knew it. This is something I say flippantly a lot because it's kind of like really shocking to say this flippantly, but like essentially he violently raped me. Like, and that's just what happened. Like, the only thing I really remember is like literally like waking up in a bathtub. And bathtub, this is the important detail. Remember, bathtub. I was in a bathtub and like I was being like hosed down like a dead body, and there was just blood everywhere, and all I could see was like just red water that I'm just like being baptized in, like of my own blood. And like I was in a biblical place, okay? Like I probably had gone to church that morning, like because you went to church every single morning for an hour before high school and you studied a story from the Bible or a story from the Book of Mormon. So like I have been to seminary and like I am studious. I'm a studious motherfucker. So like you best believe that I like studied these fucking books. So I'm like experiencing something biblical imagery. And there's just blood everywhere. And there was, for weeks, I bled for weeks. And I didn't tell a single soul. But because I didn't tell a single soul, in my head, I internalized that as like, oh, I got drunk and that's why this happened to me. And like, I didn't even break up with him. He broke up with me like a week later because I was drinking. Let me tell you. I got a tattoo gun. This is why I got a tattoo gun, okay? I got a fucking tattoo gun and I started tattooing myself and other people when I was blacked out drunk. That's like what this did to me. And like tattoos are so against Mormonism. Like, oh my God, that was so rebellious of me. Yeah, I literally woke up that morning. I like in his bed, like literally, I felt like I was in a casket. My hands were like this, and I was just like, and I literally like rose, and I just was like, I need to get a tattoo gun. So I literally got up and I left and I went and I drove and I spent hundreds of dollars on a fucking tattoo gun. Then I just started spending money. I had a lot of money saved up because I worked a lot. Started spending so much money and drinking so much. And like it got to the point where like, because I literally in my head like was processing it. It's like, oh, I murdered somebody. Like that's the same like because of the I literally felt like I like had like that's the intensity of this, okay? And like the biblical imagery of it all, like no, like that was it's almost how awful it was is like so poetically like beautiful. Like and that's why I love Edgar Allan Poe so much. Okay. So, because I didn't tell anyone any of this, I kept trying I would get drunk and I would try to kill myself. So this is like second semester senior year. Like I remember at one point like I got so drunk at my friend's house and I kept trying to drink his bleach. And so like I would like be running towards the bleach and then like two of my other guy friends would literally be duct taping me up and like multiple and then I broke out of the duct tape multiple times and made a run for it for the fucking bleach. I know this is awful. And like so like thank God. So like even though a man put me in that situation, multiple men saved my life and kept me out of that situation. Like multiple. Like there's so many good like angels that I had around me in high school. Another time like I literally tried to like I got in a fight with the same friend who had that party and I tried to drive my car full speed just at an iron gate. It was a Prius. Priuses are tanks. Nothing happened. So I got out and I was literally I had tallies. I had like 11 tallies on my arm, okay? And I'm standing around and I'm literally like I'm wobbling and I literally just fall face forward and I fall onto a broken bottle. So I have like all of these cuts on my face and like literally there's one that's like a gash on my forehead. So I have a gash on my forehead that's gushing blood and I drive back to this party having failed in killing myself. And I'm just covered in blood and all these girls are like, what's wrong with you? Because I'm in the suburbs, okay? I'm in the suburbs. And I'm like, so many things because I was still trying to survive my childhood, let alone the fact that I thought I was like a murderer. It was a whole thing. And I just didn't tell anyone. I just wrote about it. That's all I did. I wrote about it. Yeah, therapy was not a thing. I tried to go to therapy at one point early in high school because I got insurance for a little bit and that was a shit show. They were very concerned and I was like, you know what? I don't want to deal with this. So, yeah. So what I have to say is that, but a guy friend is the one who like helped me clean up, like everything, like, and like my guy friends didn't like make me like explain myself about all of that. So I ended up kind of like really just hanging out with them because it was like none of them made me like, I guess I didn't have to explain to them my suicidal tendencies. Like they just like it was okay. Like it was like they didn't make me talk about what I didn't want to talk about, I guess. And so even though men like get a bad rep for like being non-emotional, it's really just that like I think that what I've found is that male bonding, a lot of it is that like, oh, this is somewhere where we don't have to talk about those things. This is somewhere where like we can have fun and we can make life worth it and we can make the memories that like drown out the bad memories. So I guess like all in all, I have found that like, and this is just the beginning. All in all, I've found that like just as much as men have been a problem, they've also tenfold more been the solution in situations. So it's like, even though I feel like I have every right, and we'll get into that, I have every right to like hate men, but I don't. I deeply love them. And it's because just as many like bad guys I've met good guys. But like also I don't really believe that like there is really like a bad guy or a good guy. I believe that they're all in flux, and we're all in flux, women too. Like there is no like bad person, good person, like ever. Like nobody stays stagnant. We're all in flux. We're all changing constantly. And it's like, yeah, there are people like, yeah, obviously like I'm not going around hanging out with any of my rapists. Like I'm not doing that. I I have done that though. Because I just didn't understand consent. I didn't understand. So we're gonna go on. So essentially I was like, "Oh, I'm going to keep trying to kill myself every single time that like somebody like touches me or sexualizes me and I'm drunk. Like I need to take control of this situation. Like that's what I need to do. I need to take control of this situation." So my little science brain was like, okay, well, if my brain associates sex with murder and with this awful experience, it's going to experience that with all types of male touch. And this is going to be a problem forever. So what we need to do is when I got to college, I would get incredibly drunk and I would sleep with the safest person I could find, like the most attractive, the most like beautiful, safest, like healing energy inside of a human being. That's who I would seek out. So it's like I've slept with a lot of people. There are times where I have slept with 3 people in one night. But like the quality of human being that I was sleeping with was like high tier, highest fucking tier. Like I've slept with some angels, like literal angel souls. And like I feel like even now to this day, even though I'm talking about college, like it's really paid off. Like I like there are some of them that have written music that I have like on my phone where it's like when I need like when I'm crying and I feel really scared like in this world, or like I'm trying to process something like this, like I listen to that song and I just cry, and I just know that like, oh, like this, like nobody else really has this song to do this with. Like thank you. Like it's literally like a gift, and it's like that's somebody I still can talk to, and like that's beautiful to me. It's like I don't know, like I've had men write music about me even, and it's like when I get to play those songs and I get to listen to those, like it's beautiful. But I've never really been like like sleep, like sex to me wasn't tied necessarily to romance. Like in fact, like I don't know. I feel like the people in my life that I spent the like the 2 people I spent the longest amount of time probably loving, like even just growing up, like I never slept with either of them. Like yeah, that's interesting. That's something I'll unpack later. But like I have slept with a lot of people, and I'm talking about this because a lot of times like in the manosphere people are talking about, oh, like her like I've heard Clav say her pair bonding's fried. Like I don't know if I agree with that. And it's like I used to only be able to have sex at first when I was like drunk. But I would make it beautiful. I'd put on like a record player. I'd put on incense. Like it would be such an event, okay? And I was really like I was doing this on purpose. I was trying to teach my body that like men are safe, male touch is safe, sex is safe. I needed to like hammer that in, if that makes sense. And I remember the first time I ever like had sex sober, and like I had slept with lots of people at this point, and the first time like I finally like I kind of I slept with somebody like maybe like a couple times actually, and then maybe I had slept with him before a couple times before as well. So like I think maybe he was the first kind of like regular. I don't like saying that like that, not regular. Oh, one time I was telling a boyfriend about a time, this was about in England. I was talking about this time that I got raped in England, and I was telling the man that I was dating about that, and he was like, I wish I knew you back then when you were giving it away easy. And I continued to date him until he strangled me. So he was the problem. But the next one after him was the solution. I feel funny talking about it like this, but I don't know. These are heavy topics. I'm laughing about them any way that I know how to. And for me, sometimes that's talking about it in like an absurd way. So I'm gonna smoke for a second. Pause this. Okay, now we're gonna start back up and we're gonna start with that bathtub comment, okay? So all of a sudden, like, I had an asphyxiation with before I always had an asphyxiation with bathtubs because I've been baptized so many fucking times in a Mormon basement. Like, in Mormonism, you get baptized for the dead. So essentially, you let a dead person possess you, and then you get baptized on behalf of them. And then you get the gift of the Holy Spirit confirmed upon you on behalf of them. And you do that. You start doing that when you're 12, okay? And like you do a couple, you do like 20, 30 bodies in one day. Maybe they lessened it later, but like, yeah. And you're wearing all white and you're in an all white basement and you're getting baptized in a warm hot tub by an elderly man, being held up on 12 golden bowls that are huge, like bigger than you. And these bowls are holding up this white bowl and you're all in white and you're in this white little jumpsuit that, like, if you're not careful, it is see-through. And you're getting baptized on behalf of dead people. And I loved that shit. I would do that. Like, oh my God, I loved it. I loved it. I was so indoctrinated. But like, I loved getting baptized for dead people because I was having experiences where I was actually seeing the dead people. But this is when I was like 12. And it's like, you can't talk about these things. But I would write about it. So that's why it's like my journals are like, those are like holy grails to me because it's like, whoo, you want to study something interesting. Well, look no further. Ooh, it got brighter. That was kind of exciting. I like that you can see right here in the back of my wall that there's this like candle flame burn. Okay, so. Okay, now we're going to get into consent. So I didn't really know that you could say no because, once again, didn't really receive any like sexual lesson, didn't watch any porn except for like in middle school. Men would always show me just like, they would just show me flashes of like cum shots, or like it would look like somebody was getting like poured in rice and I would be like, ah. Or they would pants me a lot too, or they'd throw condoms at me because I was the only one waiting for marriage and I wouldn't wear short shorts. And so I would get pantsed and I would get condoms thrown at me. And sometimes, so I learned that condoms could be flavored. That didn't make any sense to me. Didn't know. And I would just put it away because like I wanted to think, I didn't think sexual thoughts until high school. And then it got a little difficult. But I found ways to manage. Like I would like cope by like coming up with like the craziest like porn like horror image in my head. Like I'm thinking like Osama bin Laden like masturbating to like a picture of Pamela Anderson. Like that's the type shit that like I would like conjure in my mind to like not think any sexual thoughts. Ooh, and it gets worse than that. That's just like a funny one. Some of them not funny. In fact, I remember one time somebody showed me Phineas and Ferb porn. Like that. And I keep doing that because you don't understand middle school, okay? That was a thing. And they loved discussing it around me specifically because I was the Mormon one. I was the only one that wasn't. Oh, whole thing. So, because middle school boys can be cruel, especially packs of them. I will avoid a middle school pack. John Mulaney has like a funny set about that, and like I agree. Oh, I agree. I will avoid a pack of middle school boys like the plague. Nothing scarier. Not scary, but just like I don't know. It like I just couldn't be more uncomfortable. Whew. Oh yeah, could not be more uncomfortable than that. But yeah. So and also I like okay. So this happened twice. I won't talk about one of the times because that would be involving like outing somebody who is still not out, and I don't want to accidentally do that. So I'm not going to bring that up, but I will bring up the other time then because of this. So this happened twice where like somebody was sexually interested in me in high school and I was not sexually interested in them back, or like somebody told me they loved me, like one of my best guy friends, he like told me he loved me and I just laughed because I was like, you don't love me. Like, what do you mean you love me? Like, you're not Mormon. Like, I can't, like, I was only allowed to, like, really imagine, like, marrying anybody who was Mormon. So, like, anybody who wasn't Mormon, like, they were just immediately just, like, I wouldn't even think about it. Well, sometimes I would think about it, but I would think I was sinning, and then I would battle with myself, and, like, I was very scrupulous with my thoughts. Very scrupulous. Very, very, and with other people. I like, oh, whoo, ah. I'm so happy to not be there anymore. I'm so happy that I've done, like, we're talking about shit that happened, like, 8 years ago. Like, I've done so much therapy and so much healing and so much, like, inner work since then that, like, I don't know. Sometimes when I try and tell people things like this, they're like, and you're balanced, like, or even just anything about my childhood, like, they're just, or even just the last year, like, even just a couple months ago, like, sometimes they're just like, and how are you so balanced? And I'm like, well, because I'm able to properly talk about, I don't know. I've, I've gained a lot of wisdom out bathtub. We're gonna talk about the bathtub. So, like, I ended up making this, like, short film about this, like, girl essentially reclaiming her body back from, like, this, like, war by, like, covering herself in paint and colors. And, like, that's, like, what it is. And, like, I don't know, I'm really proud of that short film. I showed it in front of, like, a whole class, like, and I remember, like, in fact, the person that I slept with that, like, I first was able to sleep with sober, he stood and he was literally, like, clapping, and I was just like, thank you. So, like, real angels. Shout out to him. Even though he did steal my Netflix, but that's a different story. See, they're flux. It's flux, you know? Sometimes you get a standing ovation, sometimes you get Netflix stolen. Either way, definitely helped me heal some sexual trauma. And yeah. And it's not like all of my experiences in college doing this were good. I'm not suggesting this. This is no way advice. This isn't advice. This is more just how I got out of a tough cookie. Using ingenuity and science experiments and sex. Yeah, like, I found that, like, the more artistic, what I would look for in a person is that, like, artistic expression, or, like, just how talented, like, if they, like, how, like, not just that they were an artist, but their relationship with their artistry. Like, I remember I dated somebody who was in charge of the dark room, like photography, and they were just so passionate about their art. Like, I just was like, I just wanted to be saturated in it. And yeah, so that meant I got to have sex a lot in a dark room. So that's exciting. I feel, I don't know, I, like, don't know if these are, like, I'm, like, allowed to talk about these things, but, like, I find this fascinating. It's like I have to be. It's like, I don't know, I've had such a wealth of experience in this field that it's just like another time I literally, like, one man, uh, he fucking peed on me. I don't even remember. I just know I was covered in ropes because I had been doing, like, a BDSM photo shoot in the snow about racism earlier in the day, where I was, like, the white, and then there was this gorgeous black man, and like we were both just like naked, like tied up in ropes to each other in this like abandoned like coal mine in the mountains of Utah in the snow. That was a crazy experience. So I'm coming down from this photo shoot and I go to this party and I of course get fucked up and I sleep with this man who I'd known for a while, like we were friends. And he like peed on me, but there was like nothing I could do because of all these ropes and situations. Like, it was just, I was not into it. I was not into it even a little bit. And I don't really even really remember it, but I just remember waking up like being covered in piss and just like in all of these ropes. The horror. But I wasn't necessarily like mad at him. He was like so fucked up. We were both so fucked up. So instead of like being like, this man gave me a golden shower and I didn't want one, like instead of doing that, because I could have done that, and anybody who has done that, like I understand the reaction, but I was at a point where things were getting absurd. Like I needed to start having fun with this shit, or I was gonna die. Like, one of these things happened in college. I ended up getting roofied, okay? And, like, to the point where, like, I had a seizure and I had to get taken away in an ambulance. And, like, I had Rufalin in my system. I had to get, like, everything pumped. I had all these. And I don't like hospitals. Like, I had to go to the... Okay, separate note. I had to go to the hospital 11 different times just in the first year of my fucking freshman year. But that was because I had a throat problem. Because I was silent. I was keeping all of this in. Where, like, all of a sudden my throat would just start growing, like, this crazy fungus, and, like, it would just start closing, and I wouldn't be able to breathe, and so then they'd have to, like, fucking, like, put this, like, huge ultrasound down my throat, so, like, I don't have a gag reflex. But I also never had one. Well, because in middle school, I kind of fell in love with this, like, sword swallower on the TV, with this, like, long blonde hair, and he was, like, this, like, he worked at this circus, and he was a sword swallower, and so I was, like, I need to become a sword swallower, so I would watch videos on YouTube and I would do it with a butter knife. So, I don't know if that's, I've heard that that's so hot and that's so sexy, but it's like, if you hear why, is it so hot and sexy? I don't know. To me, it's just funny. I hope somebody else finds humor out of this one day. This is a long video. Okay, so we're talking about consent. Oh, I'm telling a story about this one time where in high school, like my best friend, yeah. So I essentially rejected him, and then the next morning I get a call from his mom, and essentially she's screaming and yelling and crying, and she's essentially what's going on is that he's attempting suicide. It's my fault, and I need to go find him. Those were the details I got, and so I literally just looked at my math teacher and I was like, I gotta go now. And I got up, I just rose and I just walked out, and I was like, oh my God. And I really did think it was my fault. So I internalized that. I internalized that for years. In fact, I really only started to unpack that this year. So we'll get to that. There's like a couple harrowing stories I'm excited to tell, because I don't ever get to just like tell all of these at once. Because it's never funny to anyone, but I think it's funny because like the paradox of who I am in comparison to all of these things that I've experienced, like I really should be a much more horrible person. But that's why I don't believe in like horrible people. I think it's more about what you do with your experiences. It's more about like this to me is like a color war, like happening in a jungle where like people don't understand what's going on, but it's actually all just each other's feelings, like interacting weird. And it's like I make art out of that. Like I have a wall with all of my childhood stuffed animals pinned to it. How exciting is that? Like I regularly paint my face. Like I get to just do that. I get to just be wild. My life has been wild. I'm nothing but wild. That's what I have to say. This is me trying to explain that I'm actually the reincarnation of Oscar Wilde. That's what I'm trying to dog whistle. No, that's not what's happening. I wish though. Oh, maybe that'll be my next I don't know, I like to pick like a delusion to like really just embody. Sometimes they involve other people, sometimes they don't. I don't know what's real. I just refuse to believe that that's my like assignment, like to figure out like what is real. It's more like, what have I experienced, and who am I? Like my blood and my DNA. Like, what have my ancestors experienced? And then I just kind of put that all out in front of me, and I'm like, I want to make an art project. And then I became that art project. So I like myself. Okay, back to harrowing shit. This is... Okay, yeah, so I walk out of the classroom, okay? Okay, we have to get into this. I walk out of the classroom, and I'm literally like, oh my god, and my car's so far, and I turn, and who do I see other than my best friend? He's a guy. And I just, like, all I had to do was look at him, and he understood that immediately, like, something was happening. And I was like, Owen's attempting suicide. We need to go find him right now. We need to go to Pirate Rock. So, and which was my favorite rock, by the way. So he did not ask questions. His car was right there, and we literally just ran to his car, and he was going like 100, and we were like trying to get there ASAP. Then we sent his dad to the only other place that we thought he might be at, which was called the Bee Hill. So his dad ended up finding him. But like, see, men just, and his dad was like, it's not your fault. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The mom already blamed me. I already had mother issues. It's never gonna... No. How that has now manifested in my life is that the idea of telling somebody no is sometimes attached to this horror that they're gonna die if I tell them no. And it only makes sense that, like, obviously that's not what was going on there. Like, there's so much more that was going on there, and I'm not trying to make it all about me or anything. But when you've had an experience where, like, you've rejected somebody and then they've attempted suicide, and that's happened not once but twice in your life, you know, you still get scared. It's still like a thing that like weighs on you, or me, especially because I'm so passionate about suicide. I'm so passionate about stopping suicide, not like I'm not like really into suicide. I mean, maybe I am, but could you blame me? No, I'm not like into suicide. It's just, I don't know. Here's another experience. I'm gonna tell you 2 more harrowing suicide stories, and then we might like wrap this up because they're so pathetic. One time I took a Xanax in college, freshman year. This was before I started like having a lot of sex. This was actually this and the next experience were the triggers of like, okay, if I don't do something about this, like I'm gonna die. Like I'm gonna die. Like I'm getting creative here. So I like literally I took a Xanax and I blacked out for a couple days. Like I don't know why I took the Xanax. Because people in Calabasas are always like, yeah, I gave my dog a Xanax. Or like, yeah, I just took a Xanax and like it was fine. So like to me growing up, Xanax was like very normalized. Or like whenever I go on the plane, I take a Xanax. Or yeah, my mom lets me have half a Xanax on the plane. And I'm like, okay. Like, and I'm hearing that from like 14-year-olds. Like, so I don't know what Xanax is though. I had never done it. So somebody in class gives one to me, and we're about to start watching a 3-hour long movie, and we're in cryptography, okay? So I'm like, okay, I'll take a Xanax. Why not? I'm feeling silly willy-nilly. I was probably a little bit drunk, honestly. Yeah, we drank a lot. We were doing this thing called 40 Days and 40 Nights, where literally for 40 days and 40 nights, my best friend and I were drunk. We had literally wine bag, like, you know, those hiking water packs. Like, we had that, and it was just filled with wine, and we were literally drunk for 40 days and 40 nights. Like, I kid you not. Which is a little bit of, like, a feat. Like, I don't know, a lot of this leaves me impressed with myself. I'm not gonna lie. Because it's like, how the fuck am I? Why am I? And it's because just as many bad experiences I've had, I've been able to make good experiences. So it's like, I choose what memories to dwell on. Am I sitting around thinking about like a rape that happened? I mean, is that, can I say that flippantly, lightly? Like, that happened 10 years ago? No. I'm probably more thinking about like something incredibly loving, like a time where like I was on stage with somebody I loved and we were like playing in like a show and like watching everyone dance. Like, that's probably what I'm gonna think about, you know? And it's not that I haven't processed that and that I haven't cried about that and that I haven't like grappled with my soul and with God and with everything about that. I have. And I just don't, it's not that I don't care anymore. It's more that just like, okay, I've done something with this though. I've made a fuck ton of beautiful art with all of the experiences I've experienced. So yeah, back to the Xanax story. One time I took a Xanax. And I guess I had this 1,000 pill like ibuprofen bottle, and I apparently was just trying to eat it all. And like it got to the point where like all my friends were very worried, and so like my friend Sumner, see, this is a good one. This is an angel. He sat with me for for who knows how long and watched Rugrats all grown up, just like so that I wouldn't kill myself. And like, what a real one. And it's like I ended up being able to like repay that in kind when like a year later I see him at a party and he's so fucked up and he's got a bloody nose and he's bleeding everywhere and he's so drunk. So you know what I did? I took him home in an Uber. I got him into bed, cleaned up his bloody nose, played his favorite Grateful Dead songs, and left. And like, so it's like you end up being able to like take care of each other, I guess, when you don't shut yourself off to like now like all men are bad and like I need to stay away from them. I feel like we all end up taking care of each other and protecting each other a little bit. I remember I had a friend in high school who like girls were just constantly trying to rape him. They'd be locking him in fucking bathrooms and he would be sloshed. And I don't know why that would be happening to him. And they'd be like, it happened one time like 3 times in one night to the point where like I pulled in our other friend and I was like, we need to help him. Somebody's locked him in the laundry room. And so he helped me get him out of the laundry room. And then it happened again in the bathroom. And like you'd be hearing him saying like, nah, like he would be literally like it would be a whole thing. And so like that was a crazy night. And so yeah, you just take care of each other. Another time where I attempted suicide in college. This is the last time. This is the very last time I've ever attempted suicide. I'll never do it again. It's not gonna happen. But it's because somebody I loved committed suicide. Somebody I deeply loved, who I looked up to as a mother. And she hung herself with SpongeBob towels tied together, okay? So I need you to have that kind of background knowledge. And I was there. I cleaned up the SpongeBob towels because her daughter and I literally came and we cleaned and packed the house up afterwards. Oh, and I'd known this woman since I was 2, and that happened while I was away at college. But yeah, so the last time I attempted suicide, okay, and this is the funniest one, is I was in a roller rink bathroom, okay, and I was super fucked up, and it was disco roller skates. So I literally, like, I was failing at it, but I was roller skating, and my knees, I want you to imagine all of this area, purple, black, blue, like, literally every, like, it was so bad, it was stupid, and I couldn't feel it at all. And it was for, like, honestly, months. I had, like, literal bruising, like, it was that bad. Like, it was, but I didn't feel it at all. So I wrote a suicide note when I was drunk, and I still have it, and I've read it since, and I'm, like, so drunk. And, I'm glad that's never seen the light of day, okay? And I went into the bathroom, and I braided a noose out of, like, I made rope out of toilet paper. I braided it up and I wet it. So I would wet it and I would braid it and I would make it like strong. And somehow I made a long ass rope with braided toilet paper, but I would do like, in Mormon, we had to pretend to be like pioneers, so I have like rope skills, which, you know what, really came into handy another time when I got kidnapped and I could just undo the ropes, okay? But that's more recent stuff, and we don't need to talk about the more recent harrowing stuff. Or do we? No, no. This will be the last story I tell. I'm a little exhausted. I just need to smoke again, but yeah, and maybe eat something. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so I made this news and I'm wearing roller skates and I'm in the bathroom and I put it to the fucking the pipe, okay? I do it successfully. The rope doesn't break. The rope doesn't break. What breaks is the fucking pipe, and all of a sudden water's everywhere. So now I'm just like covered in toilet paper, covered in water. The pipe broke, not the rope. And I'm on roller skates. I've got bruises everywhere, and I literally just go out of the bathroom and I was just like, it's not gonna work. Every time I try to kill myself, it doesn't work. So that was the day that I decided to stop attempting suicide, because I was like, not because all of a sudden I wanted to be alive. I was just at the point where it's like, every fucking time I try to do this, like, it doesn't work. So I really committed to life then. And I did it because I failed at not committing to life too many times. And is that funny? I think it is. But once again, let's think about how many years ago this all was. How much therapy I've done since. I'm fine now. Everything's okay. Everything's great. I'm happy. For the most part. Of course, this has had an effect on my psyche. But I think I've done good things with it all, I guess. I don't know. You can have fun trying to be the judge of that. I did that for a long time. Or we could just make art and music and be happy. And make good memories. That's really what I'm about. Wanting to make good memories with good people that are just as wild and crazy in the opposite direction. Which I've been able to do quite a bit. And now it's golden. Oh, we're golden. Listen to the song Devil Eyes by Hippie Sabotage.